Are you feeling stuck on guitar? No matter how much you practice, do you feel like you are not making much progress? That's a common issue, but there's a solution. In this lesson, I will show you some mistakes to avoid to make your practice much more efficient and get the results you want. What's up, guys? Christopher here. Welcome to the series Guitar as a Hobby, where I share the best strategies to improve on the guitar. Every Wednesday, I post a new episode to help you focus on what really matters for hobby guitarists without wasting your time with inefficient approach and unnecessary things. How do you learn new songs? You probably search for a video lesson or tab, learn the notes, and then keep trying to play until it works. In this process, you end up playing wrong many times. Let's say you are learning the riff from the song Phantom of the Opera by Iron Maiden. Your practice might look something like this. And then you keep insisting until it eventually works, or give up and move on to another song. And you might think that's just how the learning process goes, right? But what if I told you that you are actually wasting a lot of time and could practice in a much more efficient way? This approach might have worked for some songs, but I'm sure it hasn't worked for many others, right? I used to practice like this too, but the problem is, this way you rely a lot on your natural aptitude for playing. What I mean by that is, you keep trying to play and unconsciously make adjustments to your technique and eventually get it right, or also unconsciously, you use a technique that doesn't work and no matter how hard you try, you can't play it. Natural aptitude is the ability to make adjustments unconsciously. Those with a high level of natural aptitude can play well, but often can't explain to others how to do it. We all have some level of natural aptitude for playing. Some have a higher level and others a lower level. But when we want to play something that our natural aptitude isn't enough to figure out, we need to intervene consciously and make changes to our technique. If we don't do this, we get stuck. I always tell my students the following sentence: if you are struggling, it is not what you should be practicing. When we play wrong, it is a sign that we need to develop some skill that will prepare us to play what we want. Insisting isn't the best option. Even though sometimes it might work, you will spend much more time. I recommend that you identify what skill you need and focus on developing it. For example, if when you play you often confuse the notes, that's a sign that you don't really know what you should be playing. In this case, it's much more efficient to spend time memorizing than to keep insisting and making mistakes. Once, during a lesson, a student showed me the song he had learned, Still Got the Blues by Gary Moore. When he played, he did it like this. He was missing the first note he had to play. Imagine how much time he wasted playing wrong during practice. It was much more efficient for him to see what the first note was and memorize it. The song starts with the note A on the 3rd string, 14th fret. Let me memorize that first. Now, let's suppose that when you play, you mute notes like this. You don't get clear notes. That's a sign that you are not pressing the strings correctly or that there is a lack of synchronization between your hands. You are picking before properly pressing the string. That was the case with my student Brendo. I identified what the problem was, talked to him, and we started working on hand synchronization, and this was the result. Instead of just continue to play muted as he was, hoping the problem would solve itself, we identified the problem and did specific practices to fix it. With my student Yuri, after memorizing a section of the song For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, he couldn't reach the speed. I identified that he needed to relax his hands to increase his speed, and we started working on relaxation practices. Check out the result Yuri had. When I say if you are struggling, it is not what you should be practicing, it doesn't mean you shouldn't challenge yourself. As you saw in my students' videos, what they wanted to play was quite challenging for them. The point is knowing how to deal with the challenge. Just insisting on trying to play isn't the best alternative. That's why I developed the divide and conquer guitar method, which is exactly what I use with my students. The complex is nothing more than a series of simple things grouped together. If you can divide and work individually on each of these elements efficiently so you can master them, you'll be able to play the songs you want. Let's say you want to play this riff from Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. What aspects we need to work on? The first is memorization, knowing exactly which notes and chords to play. The riff starts with two power chords, G and A, with the bass note on the 4th string. Then we are gonna play a pattern where we play the A string 4 times and make a power chord. The first 2 reps will be with the A power chord. For the next 2, we are gonna change this A note here for the G, making this power chord. So, everything together. For me, a good memorization level is being able to explain everything you have to play without needing the guitar in hand. The second aspect we need to work on is on fingering, mapping which fingers to use on each part of the song, how much force to apply to the string, and which posture to use. The third aspect is picking, which movement to use, which posture, which notes will be played muted, and which won't. The direction of the pick in each part, will it be all alternate or will there be times when it repeats? How much force to apply to hold the pick, and so on. I play all the chords with a downward pick and make a wide movement to sound more aggressive. Every time I pick the open A string is muted, and I always use alternate picking starting with a downward pick. The posture I use for picking is this, with the base of my thumb away from the guitar, and the movement I use is this. The fourth aspect is rhythm, knowing exactly the duration and when to play each note and being able to reproduce the rhythm accurately by playing with a metronome. I like to work on each of these aspects section by section of the song until I master them. This is a process I've been developing for several years and is now extremely efficient. If you'd like to know how to apply the divide and conquer method to the song you want to learn, I can help with that. I work with private video call guitar lessons, and you can have one for free. It will be an hour-long lesson where I will be able to see and hear you playing, and I can show you exactly what aspects you need to work on and how to do it. If this sounds interesting to you, just send an email to the address in the video description to schedule. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave your like down below. If you want to learn 2 exercises that I teach to my students to improve fingering and picking for playing faster, watch this video here. And if you want to know how to use a metronome to precisely play the songs you like, watch this one. To not miss any episode of the series Guitar is a Hobby, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Until next Wednesday, see ya!